What's up guys, it's Julia. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today it's going to be another story time video, and you guys really liked my story time that I did last week, and I got a lot of amazing feedback, and I've been trying to think of a story to tell you guys, and I thought, hey, why not tell them my hospital story from 3 years ago? I'm going to give you a little disclaimer. I might cry a little bit during talking about this because it's very hard for me to go back and almost relive it in my mind because it was that scary. This dates back in February 2014. I was in 8th grade at the time. Me and my family had talked about moving to Arizona. We were like 97% sure that we were going to move to Arizona. My mom had said we might just pick up and leave and just go. I had told my 3 closest friends at the time, if I did not show up at school after a week, then I left for Arizona, and I'm living in Arizona. So I had a normal flu. I'm not even sure what to call it anymore. I'm not even sure if it was a flu or cold or whatever. I was not throwing up, thank the Lord Jesus. So I had a regular sickness. I had a fever, which I normally don't ever get fevers, so it was like I was dying. So after the first week, I was planning on going to school the next week, but that didn't end up happening for 2 months. I was sick, and then I had an ear infection already in my left ear. It was nothing special, nothing new. I've always had ear infections, and now when I get sick, I get really scared because I do not want this same thing happening again. And I'm telling you, this is going to be a long story time because a lot happened. The second week, same sickness, everything was the same. I was not getting better, fever still 103. The Thursday of the second week, in the morning, my eardrum ruptured, and I had never had that before. I don't know how I wasn't in excruciating pain, but I feel like I was just numb to the whole fact that I was really sick anyways. And that day, I noticed that I could not put weight on my left foot, which was really weird. I thought that maybe my leg was just, or my foot was just cramping up, but it wasn't that. It was something much worse than that. I knew something was wrong, and I told my mom. I said, Mom, I can't really walk on my foot, and she didn't believe me at first until I was rolling on a skateboard to go to the bathroom, and that's when she realized that maybe something was wrong. And my mom was always the type of parent that's like, if you cry wolf, if you guys don't know what that saying is, if you cry wolf for no reason, when you're really hurt one day, we're not going to believe you. And that's basically what happened, and I've learned from that experience, and I haven't cried wolf since. My mom had said that if we went to the, we're going to the clinic, and that when we go to check out my ear, then we will kind of bring up the fact that I can't walk on my foot. I was using crutches that I borrowed from my godmother, and I learned that day that I cannot use crutches for the life of me. So Saturday rolls around, and it was the day that we went to the clinic, and my dad had to carry me in because, again, clumsy with the crutches. They checked my ear out, and they said, yeah, your eardrum ruptured. We'll prescribe you to, or we'll go and send you to the Kaiser or whatever, and get some antibiotics for that. But I have another question. My foot is not letting me walk on it. And they're like, huh, that's weird, let me check it. And he was kind of touching it, and I was crying by him even blowing air on it. That's how bad it was. He said, where does it hurt? I said, all over my foot. And he was like, okay, there's some swelling going on, and that's not good. And he looked at my mom and said, you need to admit her into the ER immediately. And I got really scared because I'd never been to the ER. So I was really terrified because I didn't know what was gonna happen. I went to my house again, and my mom asked my godparents, who lived across the street, to watch my siblings, because I have 3 other siblings, and they needed to be watched while my parents took me to the ER. So my godfather comes over to me. I was having an anxiety attack. I was freaking out because I'd never been to the ER. I didn't know what was going to happen to me. And he had told me that I needed to calm down or else I was going to have a heart attack. It was that bad. So we did not have insurance for Kaiser. And that was normally my regular hospital that I was born there. Or Cedars-Sinai Kaiser. I don't know the difference. I went to the Children's Hospital, which is directly across the way. I've been to the Children's Hospital before, but not for sickness reasons. I've been for volunteering and all that. So I was kind of familiar, but I really wasn't with the pediatrics that they had. Once I was admitted, they said that I needed a IV, and I was like, okay. I had never gotten an IV before. I'd never gotten my blood taken before, so I was quite terrified about this. So they hooked the IV onto me. The first time it did not work because of how dehydrated I was, and they said that I had noodle veins, which they could not find, which was a problem throughout this whole experience, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. They tried to numb my hand to put the IV in, but it didn't work, so they had to do it on this hand, and I actually still have the scar. I had IVs in every possible area, I will tell you that, or on my hand, that is. I was in so much pain to the point where they gave me morphine. And if you do not know what morphine is, it is a highly addictive drug. And I was so scared that I was going to be addicted to morphine. I did not want that to happen. The only way, I've gotten morphine 3 times during this experience, 3 or 4 times. And that's how bad it was, to the point that that's the strongest painkiller that I know of at the moment. So the way I can describe morphine is as if you were in Alice in Wonderland. I was really tripping out. I could not tell time on a digital clock. So Kaiser had called, which was weird. I don't know how they found out that I was in their ER. It was some type of psychic thing. They said they wanted me and that we could use our Medi-Cal in Kaiser. So I was like, okay, cool. And my dad was going to drive me there because it's literally across the street. Tell me why they sent an ambulance truck. I'm actually happy that they did take me that way because I was admitted into the ER at Kaiser like that. I had a room ready for me. I was in the ER for 5 hours. There they took x-rays of my foot. It was way worse than you guys would ever think. They had a note on my door that said, I have the picture, I'll insert it right here. They did this thing where, once I got an actual room in the pediatrics, they took a marker. I have pictures of this too, I'll insert that right here. What they did was they took a marker and they marked on my foot where the redness was, and every single day they would mark where the redness was, and I'm not even joking, my foot looked like the world map. I was in the hospital for a week, and the first day they did not know what was wrong with me. I was getting antibiotics for my ear. I still had a fever. This was the 3rd week, keep in mind, the 3rd week. And I had to get my blood taken, and I was really scared about that. And so after about 3 days, they told my mom that they think they found out what was wrong with me. I had also gotten an MRI. I was put on morphine again, and the dude's dog tag was floating in midair. I'm still tripping out. I gotten 2 or 3 MRIs, and a lot of people can't really fall asleep during MRIs because of the noise it makes. But I was, like I said, I was on morphine, and the immediate thing that I heard, that I thought of when I heard the noises coming from this machine was the black-eyed peas. So they had said that I had flesh-eating disease in my foot. I had 2 or 3 bacteria infections, and I had a bone infection, which is like a cavity, basically, in my foot.
So, I forgot to mention this, but the doctor said that this happened because when my ear ruptured, it seeded the infection to my foot. So, that's how that happened.
They told me I had a bone infection and they had never seen this before. The scariest thing for me was that they said that I could potentially die because they had never seen this before, and I was basically their test dummy to see if the antibiotics would work. I feel like the worst, I really took everything for granted nowadays. Oh god, I'm gonna start crying. Being in a hospital room, I mean, it was a nice room and all, but being able to only look outside the window was the worst thing possible. And people are probably like, that's so stupid of you to cry over, but it's really not, because I never realized that I missed being outside, being with my friends so much in my entire life. And my mom was there for me every step of the way, and I just can't thank her enough for that. I feel like that was like one of the worst things that I've ever gone through, besides like, I mean, yeah, like my foot hurting was like really bad, but I felt like me not being able to interact with things on a daily basis was the absolute worst. I didn't like the hospital food, I will tell you that. The hospital food sucks, but my mom would go out every day and get me food. She would go to Burger King and get me food, and she would flush the hospital food down the toilet, and she would go downstairs and make me waffles, and because they had like a cafeteria and you can make your own waffles, and she would make me my own waffle. And I don't think I ever seen my mom eat, and she was just really upset. And at one point they had said to my mom that if the IV was not working, I also had to get 2 IVs in my arm, because the one from the children's hospital they kept in, and it was like stinging pain every time they tried to put antibiotics in. And I got let out on Valentine's Day. So Valentine's Day is normally a really sad time of year for me. But they threw a little like party, I guess, and we had apple cider, and the doctors were saying that I was getting a little too turned up, even though I was not moving, and I was just chugging the bottle of apple cider. And they gave me like a little gift bag for Valentine's Day, and I did like, they brought crafts in and stuff, and I think I have mine still. I had made this in the hospital. After 3 years I kept it. Yeah, it's just sand, and it was fun. But I had a walker because I couldn't use crutches, and they asked me if I wanted a walker, and I said yeah, I want a walker. Still pretty bad. I remember the day that I can go home on, it was Valentine's Day at night. Feeling fresh air and smelling fresh air was the greatest moment that I still remember to this day, because I was sitting there for a week and not being able to go outside, and the fact that I could just be outside, I wanted to hop off that wheelchair and roll in the grass. I felt like going to school was really scary. I don't like attention like that, and me walking into that school with my walker was by far the scariest moment as well, because everyone just looked at me, and I will never forget that. Like, just the way people looked at me. I did not do physical therapy, which is really bad, so that's why I'm still having some problems, like my foot swelling. So I do recommend, if you have a problem, like after you break your foot, do physical therapy, because I screwed up. That was the end of this sappy video. Sorry you guys had to see me cry, but it's really hard for me to talk about. People that are healthy right now and are living a healthy life, cherish every possible thing. I practically hug trees now. Like, I love being outside and being able to walk and all of that, because some people can't, and it's really, really hard, because I know how that feels. Stay tuned until next week for my next video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm sorry if I am an ugly crier. It was, again, really hard for me to talk about, but I will see you guys next week. I love you guys so, so, so much.